Join us to visit the vast sands of the world's deserts. With less than 25 centimeters of precipitation per year, this biome is home to the world's oddest species and activities. Watch as the nights turn to extreme cold temperatures and then appear again with the world's hottest days. With the rise of the sun brings forth the children of the desert hairy scorpion, the Arabian camel, the elf owl, and the golden eagle. Learn all about those creatures, as well as the plants that accompany them. Join biologists Jack Marchioni, Chloe Ross, and Kaylee Kelly as they explain technical processes of the desert. The strong insight they provide will certainly enlighten even the most knowledgeable viewer. With strong narrations, the beautiful visuals will put you right along with the animals and fill your heart with awe. Prepare yourself for the desert. The desert may seem like a wasteland, but it contains many species of animals. Some of these animals are heterotrophs, which are animals that cannot make their own food. The desert also consists of plants, which are accustomed to the harsh terrain. These plants are autotrophs, so they make their own food. They get their food through the process of photosynthesis, where sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide are absorbed by the plant and used to produce glucose, which is used by the plant as energy, and oxygen, which is a waste product. Plants are producers, which are animals that make their own food. Plants are found at the bottom of food chains and food webs. Photosynthesis, as well as a process called nitrogen fixation, is a process that can be seen in the cactus. The saguaro cactus commonly lives in desert slopes and flats, especially in rocky bajadas. It has creamy white, 3-inch wide flowers with yellow centers. They bloom in May and June, and they're clustered near the ends of branches. The blossoms open during cooler desert nights and close again by next midday. They are composed of a tall, thick, fluted columnar stem, which is 18 to 24 inches in diameter. Its skin is smooth and waxy. When water is absorbed, the outer pulp of the saguaro can expand like an accordion, increasing the diameter of the stem, which can increase its weight by up to a ton. It grows very slowly at about an inch per year, but to a great height, about 15 to 50 feet. The average old saguaro would have 5 arms and be about 30 feet tall, and it has a surprisingly shallow root system. Its slow growth and great capacity to store water allow it to flower every year, regardless of rainfall. Its average lifespan is about 200 years. Since we're on the topic of the cactus, we should move on to other plants in the ecosystem. Let's start with the desert ironwood. This plant only grows in the Sonoran Desert and it's found where water is available. It grows from 15 to 25 feet and can live as long as 1,500 years. As it grows, it creates a microhabitat. Animals live under this, giving them food and shelter. It also provides shelter for plants to grow. This plant is part of the pea family and grows flowers through April to June. Let's move on to the alkali Mariposa lily. At 4 to 20 inches tall, its stems carry 1 to 8 bell-shaped flowers. It has 10 to 20 millimeter sepals and 20 to 30 millimeter petals. These petals are lavender, white, or pink, and it has narrow leaves that wither before the plant opens fully. This resides in the western Mojave, and its habitats include shadscale scrub, chaparral, wetland riparian, alkaline meadows, and moist creosote bush scrub. It appears at heights from 800 to 1400 meters, and it flowers from April to June. Now on to the Joshua tree. This is the largest of its kind and grows only in the Mojave Desert. Its height varies from 15 to 40 feet and has a diameter of 1 to 3 feet. It has a lifespan of about 200 years. Also, it bears 1.25 to 1.5 inch flowers that are creamy yellow and green. The flower is bell-shaped and has 12 to 8 inch clusters on each branch. The fruit is green and brown and is 2.5 to 2 inches long. The Joshua tree grows in arid deserts, and they often grow in groups called groves. It can be found in the Mojave Desert with elevations from 2,000 to 6,000 feet. Lastly, we have the creosote bush. It is named that because it smells a lot like the creosote tar that is used on telephone poles to preserve the wood. It is mostly found in the southwest part of America and the northwest part of Mexico. The bush's leaves were made into antiseptics and emetics by desert Native American tribes. The creosote bush has small 1 to 2 inch pointed green leaves, and it has flowers that also grow along the stems. These flowers are yellow and are about the same size as the leaves. The fruit is small and round with gray or white hairy tufts growing from them. At the next trophic level are the herbivores and omnivores. An herbivore is an organism that only eats plants, while omnivores eat other organisms as well. Next comes the heterotrophs. Heterotrophs are consumers, which are organisms that eat other organisms. Next comes even more consumers. Among these consumers are some interesting creatures, including the desert hairy scorpion. Some basic facts on scorpions. Most scorpion stings are not considered life-threatening to humans, except for the sting of the bark scorpion. It's the most venomous in the United States. Scorpions have a protective exoskeleton in a segmented body with 4 pairs of jointed legs. The stinger is located in the scorpion's tail. Scorpions are predatory, using the venom to subdue their prey and for defense. The venoms are mixtures of salts, small molecules, peptides, and proteins. Here are some characteristics shared by all scorpions. They have a crab-like appearance, 4 pairs of legs, a pair of pincers, and a long, segmented tail that curls up with a stinger at the end. Each brood consists of about 24 to 35 young. Scorpions' lifespans range from 3 to 5 years, but some species may live up to 10 to 15 years. Its diet includes types of insects, spiders, centipedes, crickets, and other scorpions. Next are Arabian or dromedary camels. Its hump stores up to 80 pounds or 36 kilograms of fat, which a camel can break down into water and energy when sustenance is not available. The camel's hump contains fat, which sustains them in the long desert journeys. Humps give camels their ability to travel up to 100 desert miles, which is 161 kilometers without water. Camels rarely sweat, and a very thirsty camel can drink 30 gallons or 135 liters of water in only 13 minutes. Their nostrils close to keep out sand, and they have bushy eyebrows and 2 rows of long eyelashes to protect their eyes, for example in sandstorm. They have large, tough lips to pick at dry and thorny desert vegetation, and have big, thick foot pads that help them navigate through the rocky terrain and shifting desert sands. Arabian camels have only 1 hump. Now on to elf owls. Their feathers are grayish-brown in color, and their eyes are pale yellow and are highlighted by thin white eyebrows. Elf owls are the smallest owl in the Sonoran Desert. Like other owls, they have excellent night vision. They can't see in complete darkness, but they can see very well in low light. They can catch their prey in complete darkness by finding it using their ears rather than their eyes. Elf owls have silent flight, which means they don't make any noise as they approach their prey. The sound of their wing beat is muffled by softened feathers on the leading edges of their wings. They feed primarily on invertebrates such as moths, crickets, scorpions, centipedes, and beetles. Elf owls are found from the southwest USA to central Mexico and Baja California. Northern populations are in central Mexico and on the Pacific slope north to Sinaloa, Mexico. They can fall prey to other owls, snakes, coyotes, bobcats, and ringtail. In the wild, elf owls live 3 to 6 years. In captivity, they usually live longer, between 6 and 10 years. They are not very aggressive, preferring to fly away rather than fight. Next, we have roadrunners. They are specifically known for their swift movements, and they eat mostly small animals such as small birds and snakes, and can run fast enough to catch and eat rattlesnakes. They have a long, uptight body with a long tail that sticks almost straight up. They usually weigh about 8 to 24 ounces, and their length is usually about 20 to 24 inches. Their feet are zygodactyl, which means 2 toes point forward and 2 point backwards. Roadrunners have about 7 different calls. Their normal noise is a cooing noise. Roadrunners can run up to 17 miles per hour. They're found in parts of Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, New Mexico, Arizona, and southward into Mexico. The last of our animals is the golden eagle. This powerful eagle is North America's largest bird of prey and the national bird of Mexico. These birds are dark brown with lighter golden brown plumage on their heads and necks. They can dive at speeds of more than 150 miles per hour. They eat rabbits, marmots, and ground squirrels. Also, they eat carrion reptiles, birds, fish, and smaller fare such as large insects. They have even been known to attack full-grown deer. Golden eagles nest in high places including cliffs, trees, or human structures such as telephone poles. Females lay from 1 to 4 eggs, and both parents incubate them for 40 to 45 days. The levels of organization in ecology go from species to population to community to ecosystem to biome and finally to biosphere. At the final level of this chain are the tertiary consumers. When an organism dies, dentivores and decomposers feed off of the bodies. Thus, the food chain continues. Watch as our biologists try to replicate the movements of the animals that we have talked about previously. In the meantime, let's talk about some common examples of certain occurrences of the desert habitat. There are 3 types of symbiosis, and examples are prevalent here. For mutualism, bees pollinating on cacti and depending on it for food are an example. Commensalism is when cactus wren species builds its nest near colic cactus. While this is beneficial for the bird as it helps to keep its young ones safe from predators, the cacti species remains unaffected. For parasitism, The mistletoe species lives on host plants such as the desert ironwood. Also, water is a limiting factor, and the lack of this water in rainfall causes desertification. This falls under the category of abiotic factors, which also include sand, sunlight, water, air, and temperature. Moreover, gold mining is a process of harvesting the non-renewable resource of gold from the desert, where the potassium cyanide that miners use results in being a pollutant. Thanks for joining us on our voyage to the desert. We hope you enjoyed your stay.